Hello, am I visible, audible?
Yeah, but your sound, your voice is far away. I hear you
It's
far.
fine.
Yeah.
I'll try to keep it closer. I won't be
Yeah,
able to keep
this
it
is good.
close, but yeah.
Yes,
Is it better?
yes, you are clear. I hear you clear, but yeah, now it's good. Thanks.
Okay, great. Awesome. So let's begin our session for today. Sit comfortably wherever you are. Keep your back and neck straight. And once you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Start connecting with the natural flow of your breath. Taking just the breath as it is, making no changes to how you're breathing. Now gently shift your attention to your body. Become aware of your posture and see if you need to align your body. The back and neck should be straight. The body should be comfortable, weight equally balanced on both the hips. And your body should be steady and stable. Now gently come back to your breathing. And begin to deepen the breath. Go for slow, long, and deep inhalations. Slow, long, and deep exhalations. We will open today's session by chanting Om 3 times, followed by a mantra, and then we will close with 3 Shantis. Take a deep inhalation for Om. 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 If you know the mantra, you can chant it with me, or else you can just listen to the chanting of the mantra. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Take a deep breath in for Om. Om. Shanti. 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 In the vibration, join your palms together, begin to rub the palms. Keep the palms on the eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at the palms, begin to open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti and Namaste to everyone. Let us begin our class for today. So this is the first class for pranayama. Today is our first day. So yes.
No, I have no question. I've also unmuted. I only unmute me, but I have no question.
All right, great. Actually, I was going to ask you to introduce yourself only. So if you can give me a brief introduction, and I kind of know why you are practicing, but maybe you can share how you came across yogic practices and pranayama specifically.
Yes, I think I have to learn much more about the techniques, but in my daily lifetime I've practiced some pranayama, and they work good for me. For example, ujjayi breath, I've combined it with my asana practice, and this works well for me. Not in every position, but yeah, yes, it's okay. Maybe I integrate it for 3 times in an asana practice of an hour, for example, something like this. Not so much. And yeah, my favorite breathing technique is Nadi Sodhana, the nostril breathing, because it clears my mind. This is my favorite. But yeah, I have to learn more about, for example, Surya Bandhana. I've passed this session, and yes, I've don't look at the video because I want to practice it live. Yeah. Then the cooling techniques I've like much. Yeah, for example, Chandra Bendan. It's also one of my favorite. Yeah, and then yeah, I have to learn much more about the techniques, and I have to practice it more. But I'm in my flow, and once a day, for example, not every day, but maybe three, maybe sometimes 4 times a week, I integrate it in my daily practice, my daily lifetime, and yes, it works.
Awesome, great. I'm so glad to hear that you are inculcating it already. And in these sessions also, we will explore pranayams deeply only. So yeah, let's begin today's session. Today's session is mostly an introductory session. So uh, pranayam, it's mostly misunderstood by a lot of people. So today's session is going to be the basic understanding of what pranayam is and how you can change your intention when you are doing it. So this class will help you to set your intention for the days, right? So pranayam, yes, this term. So let's dissect this term to understand it, right? Pranayam, this term has been, you can split it in 2 ways. Okay, one is pran plus yam. So when you write pranayama, Pranayama. So first you can draw two arrows. Okay, and first way of splitting the word is prana. So Prana, right? Plus you can put a plus sign, and along with that you can write yama, Yama. Okay, so this is our first way of dividing pranayama. Okay, and then we will divide it in another way, where we are going to write first prana, Prana, then we are going to add a plus, and then we are going to write ayam, Ayam. So these are the two ways in which we will split this term. And first, let's understand the meaning of pranayama from the word itself, right? So the general idea of pranayama is the first split that I have just said, right? So most of the people, they think pranayama is it is you gaining more control over the breath. Okay, which is true. It also happens as a part of the process, but that is not the entire process altogether. And breath is not the only thing you are targeting when you are doing pranayama, right? Otherwise, you could have easily done any other practices. Like I always say, you have come in yoga, you could opt anything which would have physically, helped you to move better. But you came into yoga because you were looking for something more. So pranayama is also something more than the breathing practices. All right. Sorry. So this term prana, below it you can in brackets write down the meaning of prana. And for right now, I will elaborate on prana more deeply after some time. But right for now, you can write down for prana in a bracket vital force, okay, or life force, any term that you prefer, and the meaning. And the term yama, Yama, this means control, right? So pran plus yama, life force, and then control. So very easily you can understand pranayama is what? The control of the life force. Okay, so see here, I have not used the word breath at all. Okay, so you're trying to control something which is called prana. Okay, essentially that is what you are doing, right? Now, this is the most easily understandable meaning of pranayama. Like I said, you want to gain control over how you are breathing, and somehow, from whatever I have said so far, you can vaguely put this together. The life force is connected to your breath, right? So somewhere there is a connection, but they are not exactly the same thing. Okay, so prana is much more than just the breathing. All right, and yes, I will talk about it, but for now, this understanding, this entire connection, or this entire, these dots should start forming in your mind, thing called prana. And then what I'm doing when I do pranayama, I'm controlling it. Okay, now the second meaning is actually the holistic meaning of the term pranayama. Okay? So first is prana. So again, you can write in bracket life force. It remains the same, meaning remains the same. But here I have, split the word slightly differently. And the word ayam, this ayam means expansion. All right. So not only are you controlling is a part, again, it is the part of the process, right? So when, you will see you do different pranayama practices. So maybe you inhale through the right, exhale through the left, or inhale through the left, exhale through the right. So this is what you are acquiring, some form of control. Right now you're choosing not to breathe through both the nostrils. You are intentionally closing off one of the other nostril. So you are, this is gaining control, right? And through this, what is happening is actually the expansion, all right, of the life force. All right. So merely control is different, or it's just a way of attaining the expansion. But pranayama, when you do pranayama, you are aiming towards the expansion of the life force, right? You would have seen so many yogis, right, who look young. At a very old age, they look young, right? So what are they doing? You ask them what is the secret, and they say we practice pranayama, right? So now what are they doing when they're practicing pranayama? This is the expansion, right? Their life becomes long. You would see pranayama practitioners, their life becomes long. They look young. So what are they doing actually? If it was merely a game of the breath, most of the people would be able to do it and get the same results. But you will see so many pranayama practitioners are not even able to get those results, right? Means pranayama is something different than breathing, no? Right? So breathing is just one way in which your prana shows up, right? So you will see that, one of the very easily manipulated way, right, in which it's like breathing is a voluntary and involuntary action at the same time, right? If you don't focus too much on it, it becomes involuntary, it's still going on. And then when you focus on it, you want to shift it intentionally, change it intentionally, then it becomes what? It becomes a voluntary action. Same involuntary action can be turned into the voluntary action. And it is one of the ways in which the vital force it shows up in your body, right? Just one of the ways. So prana is overall not the breath. If you hold your breath for a while, you will still live. Okay? Have you ever tried holding your breath and you are still alive? Then you just started breathing again when it got uncomfortable. But if the prana leaves your body, okay, there is no chance. Okay, you will encounter what is called death. Okay, so breath can be held, but if the prana leaves the body, if you suspend breathing, you will be still be alive, but there is no chance that if the prana leaves the body, you will be alive, right? So they are very in different aspects. They are different, all right. Various aspects they will show their difference, but because they are like breathing is a sub part of prana only, so you are able to through the manipulation of the breath, you are able to manipulate the life force in your body, right? So let's little bit more deeply understand prana, okay, because there is a lot of misconception around this also. So prana is the like I said, it's the life force. Okay, so now what the mind thinks is whatever will have life, only that thing will have prana, right? But if you come to the Indian understanding, the way in which Indian philosophy and uh, here the spiritual texts they explain prana. Prana is just the life force, and it is present in everything. Okay, so it is present in your living things and your non-living, right? So you would have, I will take a very common example. You would have seen some people, they bring certain healing stones, they bring certain, stones or certain things which they consider to be very lucky, right? And place those things in the house, right? It could be anything. Stones is just a very common example, right? So now the stone is clearly non-living, yeah, but you will see this thing that it does have some form of energy in it. Okay, and that is prana. In some things or certain beings, the prana is more. Okay, and in some it is less. But that doesn't mean that prana isn't present in anything. Prana is present in this also, in me also. Right? Just the level at which it is present that becomes different. All right. So pranayam. Talk of pranayam, we are focused on this force which is giving us life. All right. And when you do pranayam practices, you are, activating and at the same time channeling as well that life force. Okay. You are trying to avoid that life force to, it's like putting your phone on battery saver mode, basically. Right. So now same amount of battery will sustain you for a longer period of. That is why you see yogis also, they have a long life. Why? It's not because they eat more, right? It's not because they do other things. It's because they have worked on the expansion of the life force, right? So I'm not saying that they acquire more life force. They expand whatever is there, right? So pranayama is all about this. And breathing forms a very essential and basic part of pranayama. So it is much more beyond the control of the breath. All right. If you have any questions, just let me know. Any questions, doubts, and you can write them down also as and when you feel like it. I will address them. Right? Okay. So I will continue then. I think that till now they are not all. All right. So let's come to why are we trying to, work on this. All right. So in the Hatha texts, a very strong relation between the breath and the mind has been given. So next time you get angry, just observe your breathing, right? Or next time when you are very happy, just observe your breathing. You will see that the way in which your mind, the way in which you are breathing has a direct connection to the state of your mind. All right. So it was the easiest way for the yogis to, switch as well from one state of the mind to the other, right? In Hatha text, it has been written that, when the breath moves, the mind moves. All right. So all of this movement that you see in your mind, that comes because there is movement of the breath and it changes as the state of your mind changes. So what pranayama actually does is, by regulating the breath, it will also begin to change the state of the mind. And that is what Hatha Yoga does in general also. It helps you to move your body so that the state of mind changes. Again, the target point is somewhere the same, right? It, asks you to regulate the breath so that again, the breathing becomes more stable. And as a result of the breathing becoming more stable, you also feel the stability in the mind, right? So after practicing pranayama, after your sessions, right, after that particular practice that we cover on a certain day, you will feel the impact. You will feel a state of change in your mind because both of them are very, very closely interlinked, right? So let's now come to some aspects, some terms that you can use in your classes, and I will also be using them. So a proper understanding of these terms are very important. It's very important. Why? Because these terms change the quality of your breathing. Okay? So there are 4 aspects of pranayama overall. Okay. First one is called Purak. P-O-O-R-A-K-A. Okay, I will repeat this once again. P-O-O-R-A-K-A. Okay, Purak, right? Or you can also write in the bracket inhalation. Okay, I could have just said inhalation, but this inhalation has certain qualities, hence it is given this name. Okay, so I will tell you about that also. Let us first write down all of the terms that are required. Second one is Rechak. R-E-C-H-A-K-A. Right? I will repeat it once again. R-E-C-H-A-K-A. Write down exhalation. Right? Now this is not there. We come to Antar. Okay? Antar Kumbhak. Antar is A-N-T-A-R. Antar. Kumbhak is K-U-M-B-H-A-K-A. So I'll just spell it again. A-N-T-A-R K-U-M-B-H-A-K-A. Antar Kumbhak. Okay? And in bracket you can write down internal retention. And your fourth and last aspect is Bahir Kumbhak. Okay, B-A-H-I-R. 𝐴HIR. Kumbhak is again the same, KUMBHAKA. I will spell Bahir once again, BAHIR. Bahir Kumbh. And in the bracket, you can write down external retention. These are your 4 aspects. These form the basis for the pranayama practices and very essential to understand these before you enter the pranayama practice. So first thing that I wrote was, I made you write was Purak, right? So inhalation, but what is the quality of this inhalation? First thing, from involuntary, this becomes a voluntary action. Okay? So right now also I'm breathing, but then I consciously choose to breathe in, right? So I'm changing. It has to be slow, long, and deep. These are 3 qualities that the inhalation should have: slow, long, and deep. Then it will be called Pura. So conscious, it's a conscious action. So I already covered that. You turn it into a voluntary action. You can also write conscious, right? Whichever term you like. So this is the quality of Purak. It is slow, long, deep, and conscious. Same goes with Rechak, but now we are doing this with what? The exhalation. So right now also exhalation is going on normally, but I can choose to gain more control over my exhalation. What will I do? I will make it slow, long, deep, and conscious. Again, these 4 qualities remain. Then the third and fourth is the retention. All right. So normally what we do in our day-to-day lives, even when we gain control over the breathing, we are only inhaling and exhaling. All right. So Purak and Rechak go on. Sometimes for us, they do happen, right? But the key quality that the pranayama or key distinction that each and every pranayama practice has is the practice of retention, all right, which is also called kumbhak. Kumbhak is of 2 types, like I made you write, antar kumbhak and bahir kumbhak, right? So I can either inhale and then hold my breath inside my body, right? And then there is another way of holding the breath. When I exhale, my the breath has escaped my body, and then before inhaling, I put a pause, right? So kumbhaks, initially what they do, they put a pause between the normal breathing process. Okay. Again, you do it consciously. So most of the times when you will retain also, you will put in some effort in that, and you will you will consciously do that, right? Normally we don't retain breath. Right? So again, there is a lot of awareness there when we retain the terms that you will be using, and out of them, first 2 are the most important ones. Okay, because most of our sessions are only going to have the first 2. Okay, the internal retention is also one stage that we will come across, but not too often. All right. So Purak and Rechak are 2 very important things. Now already you have changed the quality of how you're breathing, right? Now let's come to the aim of pranayama, right? Why I'm saying this thing, because in all of these 4 aspects, there is one thing that sometimes automatically happens, right? And for that, you need to understand why you do pranayama, right? So now you're doing so much hard work. Why are you doing it? That question comes up in your mind. Why am I doing so much hard work, right? So at this point of time, it is very important to understand that you can do multiple practices, or you can do only 1 and 2, but 1 or 2, but you can achieve the final goal, right? So this final goal, the goal of pranayama practices, all the pranayama practices, it is to reach this stage of retention, right? There is a stage of retention which is famously called Kevali Kumbh. Kevali. Kevali. And then kumbhak remains the same, 𝐴, 𝑈, 𝑚, 𝐵, 𝐻, 𝐴, 𝐾, 𝐴. Okay? 𝐾𝐵Li kumbha. So this is your spontaneous retention. All right. Sometimes when you sit in meditation also, automatically the breath, it it's it's suspended. There is automatic retention. There is no effort that you put in that retention, right? I am referring to meditation because it is more easily observable when you sit in meditation than when you do pranayam. Because in pranayam, till now your focus was just to change the breathing, right? So in pranayam, maybe you would not have observed this, but during meditation, you definitely would have, right? So the final goal of pranayam is this automatic retention or this spontaneous retention, which is famously called 𝐾𝐵Li kumbha. Okay. Now there is a point where I will take in the breath, I will hold, and then I will exhale, then I might hold. Right. So this holding is supported by the inhalation and the exhalation. But there will come a point where these processes will become one only, and that one process is the retention of breath. Okay? Spontaneous, without any effort. And why do we need this? Right? Pranayama comes before meditation. Yeah, I think you must be aware of this thing that pranayama is still like a practice which a lot of people do, right? Because it comes before meditation. Meditation not everybody does. Meditation is an advanced practice, right? So in meditation, after a while, what starts happening? Your breathing might begin to disturb, right? So that is why the yogis already set this target in a practice that was before meditation, right? So that the breathing which disturbs you during meditation, that stage doesn't come up, that it's acting as a distraction for you, right? So when you reach the stage of spontaneous retention, you somewhere remove this obstacle, this thing that will distract you. It's a distraction during meditation, all right? Of pranayama. So let's just briefly also discuss the definition given by Patanjali, and then I will move ahead and tell you more things about pranayama. So today we are only going to have a theoretical session. From tomorrow we will begin the practices. Patanjali also in his text he very famously described this of pranayama, and he said that the cessation of the inhalation and exhalation is pranayama, right? So till now, in a lot of places you have heard controlling or manipulation, right? But Patanjali, when he described pranayama, he gave a altogether different definition of pranayama, and he said this thing that the cessation of the inhalation and exhalation is pranayama, right? So again, we have come back to what I was saying before only, that the spontaneous. So this cessation of the inhalation and exhalation is not supported by the inhalation and exhalation. It is spontaneous in its nature. It happens. Initially, you put in the effort, and then there comes a stage when the retention happens automatically, and that is exactly how even Patanjali has described pranayama. He says that once you reach that stage where both the inhalation and exhalation they cease to exist, meaning what? Meaning that you are constantly in a state of retention only, right? So that point, right, or when you reach this stage, that is actually what he called pranayama. With this stage, when everything, the inhalations, exhalations, they cease. Okay. So now when you get the clarity, okay, on what pranayama actually means, what does it help you with? Okay, I could have given you a very brief definition also, and we could have started with other topics. But I have taken out the time today to elaborate on this because this will help you to set the intention of your practice. Like I said, asana comes to something ahead of them. All right. So most people like asana, they also get stuck in pranayama. They like pranayama so much or they think that they want to hold the breath for a long period of time. So they, push themselves that right now I've held my breath for 10 seconds and now I want to reach 15, right? So they push themselves. So what happens is they go into the madness, right? Madness of the practice, not madness, like literally madness getting triggered, but this is the madness of the practice. You're constantly challenging yourself, wanting to increase the time for which you are retaining the breath. And all along, it was supposed to be natural, happening. It was supposed to be happening naturally, right? So in this class only, change your mind towards the practice and see it as a stepping stone, right, for the next practice. So it is preparing you for your next practice. So don't get stuck in it, and don't do it with the sense that this is it. Okay, it is a stepping stone. It will push you forward. It will move you forward, and it will take you towards preparation of the higher practices. All right. So because this is going on a lot, I am focusing a little bit of and focusing a little bit on this and giving it some time in today's session only. So from tomorrow we are going to go deeply into the practices. So today we have understood the meaning of pranayama, right? We have understood the 4 aspects of pranayama, which are very important, and then we also talked about the ultimate goal of pranayama. We've also understood a very formal definition that has been given, right? And now we are going to briefly discuss, because not a lot of time is left, briefly discuss the concept of 5 sheets, okay? Because we are going to be working on one of them, right? And we need to understand what is where we are working first, where am I working, right? And what are the direct impacts, I will say, right? Or the closest things that will get impacted when I do this practice, all right? So the concept of the 5 sheets comes in over here. 5 sheets is just a concept which is like in yogic practices, as per the point of view of yoga, we are not merely the physical body, right? We have different dimensions in which we experience ourselves, right? So normally also you would have seen this thing, these 5 sheets that I'm talking of. All of us have somewhere or the other experienced them, but we never realized they were different dimensions, right? Of just our own selves. Okay. So this concept of 5 sheets in Sanskrit, it is called Panchakosh. Okay, so you might come across this term. So Pancha, Panch. Okay, Pancha. Panch means 5. Okay, and then Kosh, Kosha, Kosh. This means layer or sheath. Okay. So suppose right now you are having a diary where you are writing everything down. So you can draw a very big circle. All right. In the space that you have, draw a big circle and mark this circle as the first sheet. And this sheet is called Anmaya Kosh, or your physical body. Anmaya. Okay. Anmaya. Kosh. Kosha. Anmaya. Okay. And in the bracket you can write down physical body. So now, physical body. So this is the most easily observable aspect of you. Every day you see your body. Every day when you look in the mirror, you see your face. And right now when I'm giving you this class, somewhere I can see myself. And when you are taking this class, if you turn on your camera, you will also see yourself, right? So this is the most easily observable dimension of our existence, the physical body. If you go for a scan, you will get to see the arteries, the veins, your internal organs, and all of this is supported by the food, right? So when you consume food, you give energy to this body, right? So Anna literally means food. So this is the food sheet, you can say. which is totally dependent on food for its existence. So if you stop eating for a few days, if you would have seen some yogis also when they, don't eat the food only altogether for a few days, so they lose out on a lot of weight. It doesn't happen that they don't lose out on the weight or their, body doesn't react to this because the physical body is dependent on what you eat, right? That is why what you eat is so important because it's actually going to, show up on your body, what you are eating and how you're consuming, right? So this is our first sheet. This is the outermost. All right. So you might think this is the innermost, but no. This is the outermost, easy to observe, right? Then we move to the next sheet, which is the most important one of them when it comes to the pranayama classes. It is Pranmay Kosh. Okay. So Pranamaya, Pranamay, and then Kosh, Kosha. In the bracket, you can write down the vital body. This is our target sheet. All right. So, like I said, in the body, you have the arteries, the veins, all of these blood vessels are there, and they are doing their own function, carrying the blood, everything, right? So, like that, when we come to a more subtle layer, so the deeper we go, the more subtle these layers become, right? So you drew a big circle outside, now draw a tiny circle inside that, right? Close to the big circle only, not too much inside because you have to draw the 5 sheets. And this you can mark as Pranmay Kosh or vital body. So this is a subtle, like it is more subtle than the physical body. It is not that easy to observe. And the pranmay kosh, it is filled with the energy channels, which in yogic terms you call it nadi, Nadi, nadi. So just like your blood vessels, they are carrying the blood. There are some subtle energy channels in the body which are carrying the energy, right? And these energy channels are called nadis. And as per Hatha Yogic texts, we have 72,000 nadis in the body, 36,000 and 36,000 on the total. These nadis make sure that the energy, right, it is circulated properly, it is circulated well in the body, and all the functions of the body they can take place, right? This concept of nadis, it is very important overall also, and we will discuss this more deeply in philosophy classes only. But yes, you should know that pranmay kosh, what is the part of the pranmay kosh? It is the energy channel, right? So here we are working on energy channels, energy is going to move. So when we do pranayama practices, this is the sheet which is impacted the most. All right. Now, if you come to the next circle, you can draw another circle inside the first two circles, and you can write down arrow, make an arrow and label it as Manomaya Kosh. Manomaya. Okay, Manomaya Kosh. Kosha. Okay, Manomaya Kosh. And you can write down in bracket mental body. So we are done with the physical, we are done with the vital. Now we come to the mental body. So this Manomaya Kosh, again you have go on in your mind, right? You experience so many emotions throughout your day, right? And this is one aspect of you, right? And this aspect is called the Manomaya Kosh. Again, thoughts are much harder to track. You can still connect with the prana through the breathing, right? So breathing is not that easy to observe like the physical body, but it is not as hard to observe as the thoughts or as the emotion, right? So the Manomaya Kosh gets much more subtle than the Pranamaya. So I will talk about the other two sheets in the next class. But I just wanted to complete these first three sheets. Why? Because Pranamaya Kosh is the one you will directly impact, okay, when you do pranayama. And then it is sandwiched between two other sheets, the body and then your mind. So the two other places where you will see the impact of pranayama the most, they are going to be these two layers in between which the pranamaya kosh gets sandwiched. Your mind, you will feel immediate difference in your mind, in your emotions, and you will also start seeing changes in your physical body when you do pranayama, right? And it is because of the closeness of these two sheets to the main sheet that we are working on. So we will discuss the other things tomorrow. Any doubts, queries, or questions?
No, not today. But I have another question. The mantra you chant in while starting, what is the name of this mantra?
Okay, so also posted on the group. It is called the Guru Mantra.
Group.
GP Guru Mantra.
Okay, so I have no question about pranayama for today, one question. The spelling of sheet is SHEE and then T, or what sheet? I have can't. Okay.
SHET.
Yeah. And then the last one SHEE and then the last
SHEA.
oh, yeah. Okay, then I have it. Okay, now it's clear. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. All right. So we will also chant one more mantra at the end. So I will give you the name since you asked for the first one. It's called Shanti Mantra. SHANTI. Shanti. Right? Mantra. So I'll chant it. And you can also look for it. You will be able to find it easily. So for today, you can just listen to it, and if you know it, you can chant it along with me, and then we will close our session. So sit comfortably wherever you are. Keep your back and neck straight. And then once you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. We'll chant Om one time, and then we will chant the Shanti Mantra. So take a deep inhalation for Om. Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaः. Sarve santu niরাময়াঃ. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Ma kaschit dukhabhag. A deep breath in for Om. Om. Shanti. 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 Observe the vibrations. For a few moments, we're just going to focus on how our breathing is. So just observe the natural flow of your breath. And try to keep your attention on the breathing. If your mind runs away, then gently bring it back to the breath. Don't make any changes to the breath. Just simply observe how you inhale and how you exhale. Join your palms together, gently bow down. Just a sense of respect and gratitude. Now, rub your palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly while blinking and looking at your palms. Open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti Mantra. I will see you tomorrow for pranayam. I think you are not joining for philosophy, right?
Yeah, because it's too early in the morning and I have to work. This time is my working break, and therefore I use it for pranayama. So I have to look the philosophy classes online. Maybe on Saturday there's a possibility to come in, but in the week it's not possible because of work and wake up in the morning.
And zones are very different. I understand that. So yeah, I will see you tomorrow for pranayam only then. And
Yes.
keep practicing and enjoy the remaining of your session.
I will. Thanks a lot. Namaste. Bye bye.
Namaste.